Welcome everybody to Severe Weather Update. Today is Saturday, May the 25th, and I'm doing a quick update here because we do have a moderate threat of severe weather in the Central Plains, 4 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, as well as a 15% chance of tornado risk, which is relatively high. I will go over all of that in this video. Please, if you do enjoy these videos, please click the like button and subscribe. It will help me gain some more subscribers. I'm a pretty small channel, but anyway, appreciate it. Let's get right into it. As you can see on the screen right now, and in the upper left hand corner as usual, is the Storm Prediction Center's convective outlook. The red shaded area is the moderate risk, covering much of Kansas and Oklahoma, as well as a very small portion of Missouri. However, the tornado threat of 10% in the hatched area is a little bit greater than that. So let's look at that. On the national map, you'll see the yellow shaded area extends further north into Kansas and further south into northern portions of Texas. And the 15% area, though, means 15% or greater likelihood of a tornado touching down within any 25-mile range. But because it's hatched, it means those tornadoes could be strong, EF2 to EF5 in strength. So this is obviously one of the more elevated severe weather and tornado risks we've seen. We'll look at the timing of it, but before we do that, let's look at a little closer version of the Storm Prediction Center's tornado risk map. This one is focused on Oklahoma, and you can see it includes Oklahoma City and many cities in central Oklahoma. If we move to the Kansas version of this map, you'll see it includes Wichita, Kansas. So there's two pretty large population centers within this red hatched area, meaning we have two large population centers in the crosshairs for potentially some damaging tornadoes. And as you've seen over the last, if you've been tracking severe weather over the past month or so, we've had a lot of strong tornadoes touching down, storm chasers getting good video of really intense multiple vortex tornadoes throughout the United States. And there's no reason, and these are on days that the risk is less than today. So anyone in this region needs to be on high alert today. Later tonight, though, it's going to be starting at around 5 or 6 p.m. Central Time and going past midnight is when the threat will be the strongest. And I'll go over that on the HRRR radar model in a second here. But before we do that, I wanted to look at the threat. This is radar omega, and you can actually have the tornado or the convective outlook put on the screen. So right here you'll see in the yellow and black area is, you can't really tell, but it is hatched. That's the same area that we just looked at on the map. But on this map, I can see all of the cities. So let me maybe point this out here. So anywhere in this area, well, let's, sorry about that. Here we go. Anywhere in this area here, which I'm putting in pink, is included in the severe weather 10% hatched tornado threat of these intense tornadoes of EF2 or greater intensity. So you can see it includes Wichita Falls. It is just in Texas, we're not seeing a whole lot of major cities on this map. But if we zoom in a little closer, if you live in Breckenridge, Graham, Newcastle, Olathe, Scotland, Wichita Falls, Iowa Park, you are in the hatched area, and therefore you have an increased risk of strong tornadoes. This is all to the west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Seymour. Moving north, if we go into the red area, which is the greatest threat, it includes Oklahoma City, but it includes smaller cities like Lawton, Pauls Valley, Maysville, Shawnee, Watonga, Chandler, Stroud, Bristow, Tulsa, Oklahoma, as we move further north, Fairview, Enid, Ponca City, and then moving into Kansas, Medicine Lodge, Anthony, Attica, Harper, Wellington, Winfield, Arkansas City, Cedar Vale, Howard, Douglas, Augusta, El Dorado, all surrounding the Wichita area, Kingman, Cheney, Pratt. I'm just trying to list some cities here because a lot of times we only focus on the large cities, and it almost always seems to be a very small community that gets hit by the strongest tornadoes. And I'm not that familiar with Kansas and Oklahoma, but when you zoom in on these maps, you get a little bit closer view of some of the smaller cities that are in the crosshairs today for some really dangerous weather, and for which you need a tornado plan in place to get underground if you have a storm cellar or basement, or to, if you don't, an interior room away from any windows, and maybe have a helmet or some sort of head protection, a mattress to put over yourself, because really you're trying to protect yourself from debris hitting you in the head or eyes. Eye protection as well. And then bring in your phone so that you can keep track of the tornado warnings, maybe watching a live stream like Ryan Hall Y'all, where they actually show the street level where the tornado is located, and you know if you're specifically in danger in your area. But this is a pretty significant threat today. I want to make sure everybody is on alert, has a plan in place. So as far as the timing goes, let's now go to the trusty HRRR radar model. And if you look at this, we are at 23Z. 23Z is 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We really still don't have anything firing up according to this map. But if we zoom it forward, or we fast forward it, well, you can see at that time in the northern portions of Texas, you're starting to see some supercells fire up. So we'll go from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. moving into Oklahoma, 8 p.m. central Oklahoma and parts of Kansas. 9 p.m. really looks like it's firing up. So I think around 9 p.m. is the greatest threat here today. Unlike most days, it's usually in the late afternoon. Here about 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. still in Kansas and northern Texas, maybe closer to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. 11 p.m. it looks like the threat will diminish. So anywhere from, let's say, 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time to 11 p.m. Central Daylight Time is when the supercells will be forming. And it doesn't look like there's going to be a whole lot of them. It's not going to turn into a quasi-linear convective line. So it's going to be isolated storms here. We're not going to have a large-scale event here, but there are going to be isolated, discrete supercells forming within this area, maybe 3 or 4 of them over the course of the night, that could generate some strong tornadoes. So this is going to probably be a less widespread event, but possibly a very intense event for the areas that do see the isolated supercells form within this volatile region of the atmosphere. You know, the Cape and the shear is forecast to be extremely high, and so the storms that do form are going to be intense storms, and you'll see storm chasers throughout this area this afternoon. Anyway, that's my update. If you live in this area or know someone that does, make sure you let them know, and have a tornado plan in place for later this afternoon, this evening, and into tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and be safe, everybody. Goodbye.